Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to SDGC. It is Thursday, June 3rd, the start of a new month, E3 month, gentlemen. We have officially hit E3 month. I can't believe it's finally here. We didn't get one last year. No E3 last year, so this is really exciting, actually. Don't everybody jump up out of their seats and say hello to everybody at once, by the way. Try not to act too excited, guys.
Sure, I'll play some games. It's like until I see, I don't know. It's like cool. I just want to see the games at this point. Like just show me this stuff. And I'm just like super cynical. Like okay, everything I see is gonna get delayed. It's not gonna come out this year. It's gonna launch busted.
I am sure that there are going to be a ton of delays this year.
Yeah.
I have no. I mean, look at God of War, right? Like we already know that God of War has been, and that was apparently pushed back several months ago. We're just not finding out about it. And trust me,
I mean that one was announced.
I don't believe that they ever thought it was coming out this year.
I don't think anybody believed it was actually coming out this year.
I didn't think it was coming out this year, but you know how people get. You know how the capital G gamers are. But we're gonna get into all that. What I want to ask first is Jeff, what are you drinking tonight?
The same thing I drink.
Are you drinking
same
Bullet?
thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Once again,
You're drinking Bullet.
Look, my liquor store. Like I'm too lazy to go anywhere else. There's a liquor store a block from my house, and they have like 2 bourbons, and so this is the one that I buy.
That's depressing, man. I'm gonna bring some class to this. I am drinking a Founders Kentucky Breakfast Stout. This was aged in a bourbon barrel for a year. It's very good, very strong. I am going to try to get hammered by the end of this podcast. No promises, but we'll see how far I can get. And Justin, of course, is drinking water. I don't ever have to ask him because I know what he's drinking. Justin, you're going to switch it up one day and fuck with me and like bring a Coke Zero on here or something.
I've done that before.
I don't remember you ever drinking a Coke Zero.
I've had a Coke Zero. I've had Mountain Dew Zero.
Have you had Game Fuel on the show? Have you ever had Game Fuel on the show?
I have not.
Or Monster Energy? You need a pound of fucking Monster Energy next time.
Okay, Monsters are for work nights. Tonight's not a work night. I have tonight off so I can be on the show.
So wait, hold on. What you're telling me is that Monsters for work, Game Fuel's for play.
I don't. You were present the one time I drank Game Fuel. It's on video.
You gave a review at PAX of multiple Game Fuel flavors. That was some of the best content we've done. That was fantastic.
That was the highest quality footage that we came up with from a corner when we were all just too tired from wandering around. So I just had bought a bunch of energy drinks and we just sat around in a corner and passed them around. It was
sitting in the corner of a fucking hallway at the Boston Convention Center while you filmed a review of Game Fuel. And of course, people walking past just like, what the fuck are these idiots doing? That was prime. That's the kind of content that people who come and watch our shows can expect. But there is quite a bit to talk about this week. E3's coming up. A lot has dropped this week. We had some leaks happen right before the show started. So we're going to get into those. But first, I want to talk about what we've been playing. And if you guys don't mind, I'm going to go first because I'm going to be fast. I have been playing Dragon Quest IV Chapters of the Chosen on DS. It's the only Dragon Quest game I haven't played. And the DS remakes of Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 6 are phenomenal. And I mean, the DS is just a great fucking handheld. It is one of the best systems Nintendo has ever produced. I fucking love this thing. Little known fact, every single DS, or at least DSi, which is what I'm using a DSi XL, every single one has an IPS screen. And if you know anything about an IPS screen versus like an ASG 101, IPS screens are much brighter, much crisper, just generally much better to play on. And it's crazy. I had originally started playing it on 3DS, and it is wild how much different or how much better DS games look on the original hardware than they do on the ostensibly more powerful hardware.
I hate the 3DS hardware, man. Like I only had the original 3DS, so I don't know what the newer ones were like, but that just wasn't good to look at. It wasn't good to like. I did not like that system at all.
Like it was blurry as fuck until you put it on 3D, and then like things definitely get crisper and sharper in 3D, but the problem is that the 3D in that system like gave me a fucking headache. You know,
it works so much better on the new 3DS with like the eye tracking stuff.
It does, but still, like, it's wild to see because I mean, let's face it, like, in terms of processing power, the 3DS is a more powerful system than the DS, but it is wild just how much better original DS games look on the original hardware. It's crazy. I had popped Dragon Quest IV into my 3DS and I was playing it that way, and it was fucking blurry and stretched out, and just it looked like it had one of those Vaseline smears over it. Then I popped it in my DSi XL, and it was fucking gorgeous, like nice chunky pixels, just the way I like it. So yeah, it's I just, and it reminded me
the term chunky pixels before.
Chunky pixels, man, nice chunky pixels. Okay. And yeah, so I'm loving it. That's all I've played this week because I just am in love. I love Dragon Quest games, and I'm in love with DQ4 so far. And I anticipate that I will probably play that through the weekend, up to the release of Final Fantasy VII Intergrade or whatever they're calling it next week, which of course will take Intergrade, yeah. Which will take up the majority of my time next week.
Is that Thursday?
That
next week? It's like a weird day.
It's a really weird day. I think it's the 10th. So yeah, that's a Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. Yeah.
That's really fucking strange.
So I guess we'll probably have impressions of it on the show next week.
Maybe if I get a chance to play it before the show. Because I kind of thought it was Tuesday until you just reminded me it was Thursday. Justin, what are you playing?
I have been marathoning the Mass Effect games with the Legendary Collection, and it is some of the most relaxing and most fun I've had playing games in years. Like, those games are some of my all-time favorites, and it's been a while since I've played them through. The remaster update is great. Like, I'm really, really happy with how they remastered it. The little changes add up to be quite a bit, especially for Mass Effect 1.
How long had it been since you played these until now?
So probably since Mass Effect 3 came out.
That's a long fucking time. That's like what, 7 years? 8 years?
I've played 1 and 2 many, many times.
Right,
through.
okay.
3 I had only played the one time. And I'm not one of those people that like, oh, 3 is terrible and I haven't and hate it or anything. It's just I only just played it the one time for whatever reason. So I never played the DLC for that. I never played, the extended cut and stuff. So I'm on Mass Effect 3 now. And it's been really great because I've been doing everything in all the games. So like every like little interaction carrying forward has come through, and it's just like it's like the most like comfort food marathon of games that I think I've ever had. I'm just having a blast with it. I mean, that's all I can really say. Like, I don't want to go too into it.
No, that's good. That is legitimately the way I feel about Super Nintendo games. Like like NES, yeah.
Like that series, I just adore it. I love that world. I love those games. I love those characters. It's just like this is probably like one of, if not the best remaster collection out. It's 3 incredible games, and they're so closely linked to one another with the story decision carrying thing. Just like I'm really glad this is a collection that's out there, both for people like me that wanted to revisit it, but also like there's a lot of new people that are checking this series out for the first time, and it's been so awesome seeing like their reactions to it and seeing people falling in love with Mass Effect all over again. It's just been a great time, and it was funny because initially when I picked it up, I'm like, I'll just slowly go through these. This isn't going to be like a priority thing. I'll just work on this through the summer, and I'm like 10 hours into 3 already. So yeah, just been in a Mass Effect binge, and it's been great.
And Jeff, what about you, bud? What are you playing? Some of that Microsoft Flight Simulator? You
I'm always playing a little Flight Simulator. Yeah, just always new updates coming out. I was these product shortages. I have I have like a flight stick, but I want like a throttle attachment for the side, and I had one on order. I ordered it in like October, and it was supposed to ship in January, and then I got pushed back to March, and then like April, and then May, and I just canceled it. So whatever. But they got like a 10-year platform for that, so I'm not in a hurry to like burn out on it. No, I've been playing Mass Effect, like Justin. I talked about it at length last week, so I don't want to go into it in too much detail. It's just funny, like my like takes on the games are just so at odds with everyone else, especially Justin's. I've seen a couple of his posts, like I think I don't remember what I talked about last show. Like I love the first game. I played all three when they came out years ago. And my memory is loving the first game and not being so hot on the second game. And I really don't remember how I felt about the third one. I liked all of them. Like, they're all great games. And just going through them again, like, I'm feeling the same things. I'm on to 2 now. And I really liked the first half of it. But it's a good game. It's just a personal preference thing, I think. I like the more linear kind of central plot of the first game. Whereas the second one, it kind of feels like they just set up like the collectors, and then the whole game is just side stories with the different characters and their loyalty missions, which is cool. But like, I don't know.
And that's exactly why I love it.
That's what
it's just so funny because you're literally talking about why that is like a top 3 all-time game for me, my favorite game in the trilogy. Like your reasons for not liking it as much are my reasons for loving it. And like I totally get liking one the most of the series. I absolutely get it.
I think it comes down to the characters, and again, this is like everyone's gonna identify different with characters, and I remembered liking them more. But my favorite characters in the first game were Liara and Rex, and they're basically MIA in the second game. Garrus is still there. Garrus is cool, but I don't like Miranda. I don't feel anything for Jacob. I don't like Grunt. Like I like Tally's cool, but like I don't know. I've been talking to her nonstop, but I feel like she's not as fleshed out as some of the other ones, and Garrus is there, but yeah. So for me, that's where I just recruited Thane, so I have one more to recruit, and then I'm getting close to the end of the game. But I don't know. It's just a lot of little things. I love the Presidium in the first Mass Effect, and I hate that the whole Citadel now just became like 4 samey looking floors of shops.
Yeah, the Citadel in 2 is real disappointing. Like I really like the other hub areas in 2, but the Citadel in 2 definitely is not what it once was.
What's the main one? Is it Ilium's really cool, and what's the Omega, right?
Omega.
Those are fantastic, but I'm just like, you had the Citadel from the first game. What the fuck happened? And then they tease you because you could go to the Presidium, but it's just a little balcony where you could talk with Captain Anderson. I want to go down there.
It's a balcony, and he just comes out and talks to you, and then you just leave.
Yeah,
I'm experiencing this really weird kind of thing with Mass Effect, where I know that tons of people, tons of my friends were so excited about the Mass Effect trilogy being, remastered and re-released, and I am thrilled for everyone who loves that series, because I know it means so much to so many people, especially a lot of people that I care about, both on this podcast and in our community. And yet I just cannot bring myself to replay them because I have no interest in it, and it feels weird because they're great games. And I was thinking, when I first heard that this was coming out, I was thinking, I'll at least replay 2, because I love, like, that's my favorite out of the trilogy by far. Like, I'll at least replay 2, right? But now, like, I am so comfortable in my little warm blanket of older games at the moment that I have no desire to even touch Mass Effect, and it feels really weird. Does that make any sense? Like, it feels really weird not to be on that hype train with everybody else.
I get it. Like, I'm kind of the same way, especially when like Grand Theft Auto launches, because like I'm actively disinterested in that. and it's like the biggest thing. Like it's still selling ridiculously well, and it came out what 5 still selling ridiculously well. It came out what 8 years ago,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and I mean, we all have the series for that but I'm also like a big proponent of just playing what you want when you want. Like, if you feel like you have to force yourself to play something, don't. Like, that's why I
That's what I've
haven't
learned,
played
yeah.
That's why I haven't played Near Replicant yet, because I haven't been in the right like headspace
I
for
haven't
it.
finished
Like,
it yet. I haven't finished it. I loved Automata, and I still have not finished Replicant.
Yeah, and I just haven't picked up Replicant yet because I know I'm not in the right headspace for going into it. So I'm just gonna wait. And I seriously encourage anybody, like, if you're not in the mood to something, don't just play it because other people are playing it.
Right.
Play it when you want. You know, you might even be able to pick it up for a sale. Like, there might be some patches that make it better. But yeah. So, but I am over the moon with the legendary collection. I want a Dragon Age legendary collection next.
You weren't on the show last week, right, Justin?
I was not. I had to work.
No, Justin was
week,
out last week.
Yeah, I said the same things as you. I was very skeptical of this Mass Effect collection just because EA doesn't do a ton of remasters. BioWare hasn't done a remaster. I had no idea what to expect from it, and remasters are a real mixed bag. But I said the same thing. Like, I was just blown away, especially in 1. That's the other. Like, I really like the thermal weapon system in 1, but that's beside it. But yeah, like 1 needed the most work, and it's still the most dated, and it still has a lot of problems. But I'm just shocked.
It's still kind of janky. It's still kind of janky, but now it's like charmingly janky instead of what it was before. Yeah.
What I'm really interested to see is after people replay the trilogy, like after people I know have made it all the way through the trilogy, I am really interested to see how and if people's opinions on Andromeda change for the better or for the worse. Because I know that, I mean, that game, rightly or wrongly, got a lot of flack when it came out. And I never played it, but the most common complaint I heard was it's just more Mass Effect. Which is, and I'm bringing this up because that's a really weird complaint considering right now people are fucking thirsting over more Mass Effect, right? Like,
so for me, the thing with Andromeda is Andromeda was fine. Fine doesn't cut it for me for Mass Effect. Like, Mass Effect is a series that I hold in extremely high regard. I expect a lot out of. And Andromeda was fine. I enjoyed my time with it, but it just didn't reach the highs that the trilogy ever reached.
Jeff, did you ever play Andromeda?
Yeah, I've made 2 attempts. I got pretty far. I probably got 50 or 60% through the game. And I liked it. And there's a lot. I think the reason it falls flat, again, I didn't finish it, so I can't say how the end of the game is. Apparently people don't like Ryder.
The latter parts of the game are actually really good.
Yeah.
The last quarter of Andromeda is actually quite good. But it just takes forever to get there, so a lot of people didn't see it.
Apparently people I think don't like the Ryder character or something. I played as the Sarah Ryder, and I thought she was awesome. Like, I thought she was a great character, super fun, really charming. So I liked her, but I think just the main narrative, I think it has the problem of living in the original trilogy's shadow with the Reapers and Shepard and all that stuff. And it's tough to top that. But it's funny because a lot of the things I don't like about 2, I've been talking a lot lately. Like, I'm just not big on fighting and shooting and combat. And 2 has a lot more of that than 1. The Mako was boring, but at least broke up the shooting sections. And 2 is an all-out shooter, which is fine because the Mass Effect games are like they're fighting games, right? So. But the thing I liked about Andromeda is I felt it kind of went back to those Mass Effect 1 roots. So I appreciate that they brought back the Mako, and they had these huge, dense, it was a beautiful game, and they had these awesome worlds to explore, and they packed it full of stuff to do and stuff to find. It was just too unfocused, I think. You could tell that they had all these great ideas, and like it wasn't as tight of a package as the original trilogy because they, for whatever reason, weren't able to bring it all together. But I think they could have done that with a sequel.
Yeah, the thing about Andromeda, and I think it's like been easier to articulate for me replaying the trilogy right now, is like the trilogy, even if you do all of the things, each game is like 30 to 35 hours doing everything.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Andromeda, I I didn't do everything in Andromeda, and it was 80 plus hours.
Yeah, I said I 50% through. I was mainlining it, and I tapped out at 35 hours. I'm like, I just can't.
Yeah. No, Andromeda is massive, and like Dragon Age Inquisition, while being, I think it was overall better than Andromeda, but it suffered from the same thing. Is like the condensed 30 to 35 hours in each game in the Mass Effect trilogy feels like a bigger adventure and a grander adventure than the 80 hours in Andromeda. And I really hope in the future BioWare is just like, hey, maybe we don't make the biggest thing. Maybe we keep it reined in size and just make what we have be really good. And I really hope they kind of go back to that.
So before we move on to our first big topic of the night, I want to give a shout out to my friend Liz from Stack Up, who is watching right now. Liz is going through some stuff that I won't get into. It's personal stuff, but she got a lot on her plate, and just want to let you know, Liz, that everything's going to be fine. I know it. You're going to get through this, and it's going to be no big deal. Promise. Everything's going to be fine. Don't even sweat it. You have a huge support network in Stack Up and among your friends. I know you know that. And, you know, I know that you have the inner strength to get through this, and I believe in you. And everybody who knows you also believes in you. So let's get some Sakis in chat for Liz, please. And I also want to Sakis in chat. Let's go, motherfuckers. I also wanted to do something else. I wanted to say something else, but I fucking forgot what it was because I'm like halfway drunk now on this strong ass beer. So all right, so let's launch into our first big topic of the night. Do you guys want to cover? You guys want to do God of War first? You guys want to do God of War first? Let's
do the whole cross-gen God of War. Let's get it all.
I mean, there's that whole Herman Hulst interview. It was a 20-minute interview with Herman Hulst.
By the way, I'm sorry, but the name Herman Hulst
over...
Justin, hold on. The name Herman Hulst sounds like he directs pornographies. Like, I'm sorry, but like Herman Hulst just sounds like a fucking porn director.
Comic book villain, like with the alliteration.
Yeah, yeah, that's another good one. Like.
Okay, so I guess. Do people not know who Herman Hulst is?
I don't know who he is. I don't know who he is.
Okay, so Herman Hulst is the former president of Guerrilla Games. He founded and ran Guerrilla for a long, long time, up through Horizon and part of Horizon 2's development. Then he has recently been promoted to head of Sony Worldwide Studios.
He's basically
moved up. Why would you expect that I know that? Like,
well, do you know who Shuhei Yoshida was? Why would you know who Herman Hulst is?
Because I don't pay that much attention to this shit.
Also, Herman Hulst has been like on stage.
I'm just like shocked.
Dude,
if you know who Jim Ryan is, I thought you knew who Herman Hulst is.
You motherfuckers always comment on my age. I'm 40 years old. I forget shit, man. I'm forgetful, dude. Like, by 10:30 at night, I'm in bed, fucking taking my pills for my back pain.
Mark's coming to your house to remove your PlayStation.
Put my diapers on. Okay, so anyway, Herman Hulst.
And
Herman
take
Hulst.
pictures of your ears.
All right,
so,
Herman Hulst.
He did like a 20-minute he did like a 20-minute video interview. It was kind of initially released in some excerpts on the PlayStation blog, but then they released the full video footage. And he's also done a couple other little interviews and stuff in the days since then. But like basically talking about the future of Sony Interactive Entertainment and specifically their kind of vision for their first party studios. And a lot of things were confirmed in that. Just kind of the major bullet points. God of War and Gran Turismo 7 are also going to be coming to PlayStation 4, not just PlayStation 5.
So I've actually got Justin.
He confirmed it.
I'm sorry, Justin. If I can interrupt real quick. I've got the statement from Sony Santa Monica. Do you mind if I read that real quick and then you can keep on going, Justin?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
I've got the actual statement. It says, since the release of the next God of War teaser last year, we've been humbled by the amount of love our community has shown us. We're incredibly grateful to see so many people excited to experience the next chapter of Kratos and Atreus' journey. We remain focused on delivering a top quality game while maintaining the safety and well-being of our team, creative partners, and families. With this in mind, we've made the decision to shift our release window to 2022. Thank you for all your continued support. We've got some exciting things in the works we can't wait to show you. So I wanted to take a minute and read the actual statement from Studio Santa Monica. Justin, please continue.
So yes, also God of War finally got confirmed coming out in 2022, which most people kind of assume.
Yeah, nobody fucking thought that was coming out in 2021. Like, come on.
Yeah. Let's see. Asobi team, the team behind the Astrobot games, is now a full-fledged first-party studio. It is no longer just a team within Japan Studio. Japan Studio is actually gone, but Asobi team is now being greatly expanded. They're getting a lot more resources, and they're working on a family-friendly franchise with international appeal, is how they phrased it. They confirmed Sony Bend, makers of Days Gone, is working on a brand new open world IP.
Rest in peace, Days Gone.
Let's see. He also confirmed that legacy PlayStation games will still be coming to PC when the time is right, which sounds to me like they're not really considering day and date releases. Just a couple of years later, they'll throw some stuff on PC. And then there was also some stuff about Horizon that came out today. Like Horizon is going to get a 60 FPS mode.
I saw that.
Which a lot of people were wondering about. Which
that's great. Like, that's fucking fantastic.
Yes.
But I want to say this. Like, so we know that a bunch of these games are coming out on PS4 as well. Like, God of War is going to be cross-generational. Excuse me. Gran Turismo 7, cross-generation. I guarantee you there are more games that we don't know about yet that are going to be cross-generation. Now, when the PS4 launched, we saw a period of about a year when most first-party and third-party games were cross-generational releases. And after
not from Sony. Sony has not done cross-generation first-party games. They always move on.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
All right. Shadowfall was next-gen only.
Oh, you're right about that. Yeah, you're right.
They had
there was
right
also the weird thing.
That's true. That is true.
They put out The Last of Us and Gran Turismo 6 like months before the PS4 launched, but they did not do any cross-generation.
6 was actually after the PS4 launch.
Yeah, it was.
Then never got a PS4 version.
Yeah, incredible. Just incredible.
Yeah, but like earlier that year, Sony had put out God of War Ascension, Last of Us.
Yeah.
They published Beyond Two Souls. That was right before the PS4 came out. And then the PS4 came out. And aside from Gran Turismo 6, none of their games were on PS3 after that.
So
Infamous Second Son, then again, PS4 only, not cross-gen. That came out a few months after the PS4 launched.
Right.
But it bit them in the ass because they put out all this stuff in the last year of PS3, and it took them a long time to manage to, all those studios to get ready and finally put out their PS4 games. Right. So that could be part of why you're seeing this.
That's right. So this is interesting to me, right? Like I fully expected that, for example, God of War was going to be a cross-generational game. Like there was nothing in, because I mean, the PlayStation 3 like eventually sold fine, but it was not the absolute world-shattering success that the PS4 was for them. I mean, the PS4 was what, like their second highest selling console of all time. It passed 100 million units. That's like what, 25 million more.
It was the highest selling.
No, I think the PS2 was higher.
Okay. No. Okay. You're right.
Yeah.
It's the second highest selling console of all time. That's
but the
right.
fastest
it's not Sony.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that being said, the PS4 has sold over 100 million consoles, right? Which was far and away, like I was saying, something like 25 million more than the PS3. I don't have the exact numbers, but
I think PS3.
Well, like it picked up steam, 80 something like that. I don't think it was over 80, but the moral of the story is that the PS3 picked up steam near the end of its life, but it had a really slow fucking start, like a glacially slow fucking start,
because it was like $900 here in Canada.
Yeah, it was like you'll get a second job to afford one here, and it didn't have many launch titles. It was $5.99 here, I believe. and
Hayes.
it was fucking Hayes. Shout out to Hayes, motherfucker. But Lair, motherfucker, Lair like a motherfucker.
The access, like, yeah,
incredible. But the PS4 is a totally different story, right? Like that was a runaway success right out of the gate, and now it is sitting at over 100 million consoles sold. There was no fucking way. There was no way that Sony was going to limit something like God of War and alienate, especially with the PS5 is still as ridiculously hard to find as it is right now. There was no way Sony was going to limit the next God of War to the PS5 and lock out 100 million people who own a PS4 who have been unable. Well, probably, and let's face it, 85 million people who have not been able to pick up a PS5.
Yeah, they just said today, it was in one of the various interviews that came out today, like after the stuff, is that God of War and Horizon were always intended to be cross-gen titles. Gran Turismo was a more recent decision to make it.
That still doesn't surprise me, though.
Is why there actually is a statement. Well, but there actually is a statement of them saying that Gran Turismo is PS5 only, and then I
don't see why anybody cares.
Honestly,
though.
The thing that just annoys me about this. Okay, so I can explain why people care and why people are upset with Sony, but also I know it's a good decision business-wise. These games cost Horizon and God of War cost way too much money to make to actually limit the fan base, and this way more people can play them. But because they weren't upfront with telling people that it was cross-gen, they were announced explicitly as PS5.
That's
games.
The problem. Yep.
Kind of a lie of omission.
It
was kind of a lie of omission,
yeah.
and Sony had, and there was that Jim Ryan statement that we believe in generations. They talked up all the different ways that the SSD in particular can influence game design. They gave us as fans time to kind of go wild with, okay, Horizon, Guerrilla explicitly said that they couldn't have flying mounts in the first Horizon game because the hard drive limitations, because it was too slow to load data, they couldn't do that on PS4. Naturally, people were like, oh, on PS5, they'll be able to do flying mount. Well, the game's coming to PS4. That's a feature that big isn't gonna, be on one platform and not the other. God of War had the realm travel stuff. And people started imagining, well, what if you could just shift between realms, at the push of a button or something. And so if they had been transparent about it ahead of time, I don't think there would be any pushback. It's just they went into so much detail about how this could benefit games, and then we're not clear about their plans.
So and that for me is the real problem, right? I truly do not give a shit if these games are cross-generational or not. Look at fucking Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West, right? It looks fucking gorgeous. I'm sure God of War is going to look fucking gorgeous. I'm sure Gran Turismo 7 is going to look fucking gorgeous. That is not what I give a shit about. What I care about is
and we know those games are all going to have high frame rate modes,
yeah,
most likely,
and honestly, that's more important.
If they're running on PS4, PS5 can run them at 60.
And it's the performance that is more important to me, right? I would rather play these games in 60 frames a second, at an upscaled 4K as opposed to 30 frames per second. True 4K. I don't give a shit about any 4K? Of that. Yeah, right. I don't give a fuck about that. I'd rather play a smooth running game. My problem is the messaging, which I agree is shitty, right? And it's surprising to me because Sony has done quite a bit right with the PS5 in terms of its messaging, but from between this and just and speaking of what I'm about to say, I was going to mention the fact that the PS5 is still hard to find. The fact that that God of War and now Gran Turismo, after the fact, is going to be a cross-generational title tells me that Sony is anticipating the PS5 supply issues will stretch into next year.
Also, it tells me, it's that, I mean, PS4s are hard to get right now too. Like they're still full price, even if you can find them. Like,
which is fucking weird.
Like all consoles are tough to find right now. And I think also they're at a point where they're like, hey, the PS5 is going to sell on its own.
God
We
damn,
don't need to lock out
pipe.
part of our fan base from. We don't need to lock out some of our fan base from being able to play these games. Like we don't need to like do that to increase the appeal of the PS5. Yep. People are just gonna buy a PS5.
Right. Like I mean,
we don't need to be like you can only play the new God of War if you get a PS5.
But I want to get Jeff in on this because Jeff's been quiet for this one. Jeff, do you think the fact that apparently the plan, as we've said, for God of War was always to be cross-generational, which I am not shocked by. But the fact that Gran Turismo 7 was apparently a much more recent decision, does that say to you Sony's expecting more PS5 supply issues into 2020 or into 2022?
I mean, I'm sure they are. Like, I feel like that's a known quantity. We've seen our good friend Matt Piscatella tweet about it. We've heard the reports from hardware sites and stuff. We know that the shortages are going to continue next year for everything, not just game consoles, not just PS5, cars, phones. The pandemic isn't over. A few countries in the world are getting it under control, but 90% of the world is still dying every day. And a lot of these parts are produced in countries that are not the United States or United Kingdom. So of course that stuff's going to continue. But yeah, I'm on the same page as you guys with all this stuff. I assumed these games were PS4 only. It's funny to me that Gran Turismo was a recent decision because I've talked about it a lot. I'm a big racing game guy. I play all the Gran Turismo games. Like, of all the games, Gran Turismo, I love Gran Turismo, but holy shit, those games are kind of a little bit of a hot mess. Like, they constantly just pull in tracks. They still have tracks and cars from the PS2 and the PS3, and they give them a new coat of paint. But there is code and stuff in there from 3 generations ago. It's so the new Gran Turismo 7 just looks like sport with some ray tracing thrown in for some shine. So I was I can't even imagine that they weren't expecting that to hit PS4. But my issues are the same as your guys. It's the same way I feel about my Xbox Series S. I feel like I was misled. I'm fine. Give me the information to make a decision on a purchase. That's all I ask. And then I hold the responsibility for making that decision. And if I'm not happy with it, that's on me. But Microsoft basically advertised the Series S as being a Series X at 1440 instead of 4K. And that was it. But the reality I've seen is that Series X has had 60 FPS modes sometimes, and the Series S sometimes has a 30 the resolution is not 1440. It's actually usually 1080p. And in the case of backwards compatibility stuff with Xbox One S, you're stuck at base Xbox One. It is not the Series X experience at all. And it kind of feels left behind at this point. And so I feel misled there. And I feel like that's what Sony did with these games. I think they wanted to sell a lot of PS5s. And if you're saying straight up, you always knew these were PS4 games. We saw it with Spider-Man, right? Like the Miles Morales thing was kind of the same situation.
Exactly. Yep.
Just be honest.
Spider-Man and Sackboy were both just announced as PS5 games.
Just be upfront.
And those were launch titles, and those are ones that nobody's going to be upset about, right?
Yeah. And it's been a mess with
that's the part that annoys me.
The trailers too, right? We've seen, I can't remember off the top of my head, how many trailers had console exclusive coming to PC, and then they went back and edited and re-uploaded the trailer to remove certain things, or it said PlayStation 5 exclusive, and the trailer got re-edited to remove that. And I try to give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe this is just marketing people messing stuff up, but at this point, it just kind of seems willfully deceitful. So it's fine. Cross-generation is good for players who can't afford a PS5 or can't get them because Sony seems to be heavily favoring the United States, but globally the PS5s are almost impossible to get. And I'm fine with them saying we want everyone to be able to play these games, even though selfishly from a tech perspective, because I'm a snob, I want to see true next-gen games. I can understand that, but
me too.
just fucking tell us and be straightforward. That's what people want. That's what pisses people off.
The thing is also, like, it's not like they aren't releasing PS5 only games. Demon's Souls was PS5 only.
That was
Ratchet.
Destruction All Stars didn't light the world on fire, but that's PS5 only. Returnal, which I finally actually finished Returnal, and it's outstanding. Ratchet and Clank next week, which I do think it's kind of hilarious that Ratchet and Clank has been very true to like its PS2 roots, even as time has gone on. But that one is still PS5. You just reminded me, PS5
like, dude,
only.
Ratchet and Clank is like Ratchet and Clank coming out the same week as Final Fantasy VII Intergrade. Like, I'm sorry, Ratchet. Like, I know where my priorities lie.
A day apart.
Ratchet 2016, but like Final Fantasy VII, man, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe I honestly can't believe they did not push that a week or two. Like, I mean, guys.
I played Final Fantasy VII Remake already, so.
But dude, so many people are going to play Intergrade. Thing. So many, like, dude, that's my priority. Not starting next Thursday, dude. I'm fucking full on. Probably 2 playthroughs of Intergrade.
Like, of course we're gonna pick Final Fantasy.
Well, yeah, no shit. It's Final Fantasy. Like, of course I'm gonna fucking pick that. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ! For anybody who's watching right now, look behind me. Look behind me. What do you see?
Death Until Dawn Part 2 yet in 555 in 14. So I'm like, do I do that or do I do 7?
I'll tell you what, dude. The 5.5. So the new resistance weapons, like from a glam perspective, are really disappointing. They're
I'm so sorry that I did this, Justin, by the way. I'm so sorry.
I'm just gonna check my phone right now.
You check your phone while I'm talking. You check your phone while I talk about this. The new resistant, like from a visual perspective, the new resistant, like the last step of the resistance weapons, the Save the Queen weapons, are really fugly. Like they're not good looking. The last stage of the Bosnia Southern Front armor, not good looking. I'm still, like, of course, super fucking excited for Endwalker, but not thrilled with how the Bosnia Southern Front stuff ended. And Justin got up and left, and I'm literally done talking about Final Fantasy 14 now. Like, that's all I wanted to say. So Justin's loss, I suppose. Like, he was expecting this 30-minute treatise on Final Fantasy, and all I wanted to do was get that off of my chest.
That happened eventually with how much we talk about it.
So there was something else that we really need to bring up, and this is something that happened, I don't know, probably like 45 minutes before we went live, and apparently the entirety of 2K's show has leaked. Or the entirety of 2K of 2K's games that will be presented at E3 have leaked. And the first thing we need to talk about is what is being described as Marvel XCOM. And so let's see what we got here. So this is from GamesBeat, and I am quoting here. New info regarding upcoming and unannounced 2K games projects popped up on Reddit yesterday, and I have confirmed that the leak is accurate. This might give fans an early look into what to expect from the NBA 2K publisher as it prepares to partake in the Electronic Entertainment Expo digital event on Monday, June 14th. This includes a new Borderlands spin-off, a new Marvel game from Civilization studio Firaxis, which I did not know. I did not know that was the dev, and another project named Codename Volt. So here's what we got. And we'll go through like the other stuff before we get to the Marvel stuff. The Borderlands spinoff is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which is a game that European gaming news site GameReactor.eu teased earlier this spring. And Gearbox boss Randy Pitchford essentially confirmed its existence as part of his effort to respond to rumors. Gearbox is developing Wonderlands, which will still focus on Borderlands-style class-based shooting action. The Firaxis game is a turn-based strategy game, but with Marvel superheroes. The leak pitches it as XCOM with Marvel's heroes, and that is a fair way of describing what the players should expect. XCOM has players commanding agents in small skirmishes, and now Firaxis will weave some Avengers flavor into that foundation, so expect to see Iron Man, Wolverine, and others to show up for this one. Finally, Codename Volt is a new sci-fi action game that also brings in magic and other supernatural capabilities for the player and the enemies. Again, the leak does a good job of summing up what to expect, calling it Cthulhu meets Saints Row. Holy shit! What the fuck? Wow, that is.
By the way, that pitch. I'm buying whatever that is.
Yeah, like
if
that
the
is.
pitch is Cthulhu meets Saints Row, I am in. I don't care
nuts.
how broken or stupid that game is. I'm buying whatever that shit is. Like,
hold on.
Crap.
Cthulhu meets Saints Row. What the fuck does that even look like? Holy shit.
We're gonna find out.
That is fucking incredible. And apparently this is all true. Oh, and there's actually a link to the trademark for Wonderlands up now. So that's interesting, man. This E3 is...
Sorry, John, there was a lot of stuff there. Did you say there's a new Civ game coming? Civilization? Was that in there as well?
I did not see that there was a new Civilization game. All it says is that Firaxis is the developer of the Marvel.
Okay, I got them because they do Civ as well. Sorry, I thought they were doing both, and I was like, wow, that seems crazy.
I would not expect a new Civilization game anytime soon.
Yeah, all right.
So yeah, that is fucking wild. Marvel XCOM, that seems like something that should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm having a time picturing this. Like, everyone thought the Mario Rabbids thing was weird, but it kind of works. But like, you specifically mentioned Iron Man. Like, how do you use Iron Man turn? Like, I'm trying to picture him just standing around on like a grid. Like, I don't know. That seems real weird to me. Like Marvel, I picture really fast-paced stuff.
So I can't wait. Justin, go ahead.
Like, I would bet like Iron Man has like mobility bonuses, or like isn't impacted by terrain like other characters are. You know, Hulk can probably like break down certain parts of the terrain, things like that. I don't know. I'm into this idea. I really like it.
I
there's a lot of things that they can do that I think would work. I think could really work in like a turn-based strategy game. I just hope it's not XCOM hard, because
so I was gonna say I can't wait.
I like XCOM, but I am so bad at it.
I can't wait to move. I can't wait to position Iron Man on the square right in front of a scroll and have a 95% chance to hit that scroll with a repulsor blast and then completely fucking whiff it. Like that is going to be peak fucking Marvel shit right there. You know what's weird?
I think it's
go ahead, Jeff, please.
No, I was just gonna say I just think it's cool, and it's an extension. You know, Marvel took a new approach to their games a few years ago, where they basically said we're done with like just trying to think of a good term, like just giving just making our license reign. Like, here, anyone who wants to make Marvel games, do it. And they really made a commitment to finding developers that made really good games and kind of finding something that would fit well with Marvel and wanting to produce better, maybe less games, but better quality. And that's what led to Insomniac. And now that we're seeing that with Firaxis, the XCOM games are incredibly well received, both commercially and critically. So yeah, it's different and unexpected, but I think it's just further strengthening that Marvel's serious about not just making Marvel games. They want good Marvel games, and they want them to be different. They don't want them to all be open world, Spider-Man style. Like, here we've got like a strategy game. That's really cool, I think. So I hope it does well.
I'm sure it will.
I would love a Star Wars one too, like, because Lucasfilm has just started doing some more licensing stuff.
I want a Star Wars dating sim.
Jones
That's what I want. I want a Star Wars dating sim.
John, you do not. I don't think we'd survive the release of that game.
No, we absolutely need a Star Wars dating sim, dude. Like, for real. Like
the Adam Driver fan base nuts.
The Adam Driver fan base is thirsty as fuck right now. And like the whole game could take place in Mos Eisley Cantina, because everything in Star Wars canon happens on fucking Tatooine for some reason. so the
Tatooine it has like some supernatural destiny meaning.
It does. Well, and look at the reaction to Garrus in Mass Effect, right? Like, you think right now that people would be horny as fuck for some Star Wars aliens? Like you're fucking high if you think that's not the case. Like I don't care how
they're all over that Cantina band, man. I tell you,
dude, I'm telling you, no, dude,
has ruined people.
Right now, there is somebody out there who's like, I want to fuck Max Rebo. You know there is. And the blue elephant.
John, you're saying this as a joke. I can tell you, I know for a fact that is true.
McClunky.
Oh God. Wait,
John, if you didn't want to go down this rabbit hole, you shouldn't have opened it.
Hold on, Justin. Who do you know that wants to fuck Max Rebo? By the way, for anybody listening, Max Rebo is the blue keyboard playing elephant creature from Return of the Jedi. Justin, who do you know that wants to fuck Max Rebo? Is it you?
Listen, people think Max Rebo looks real cuddly.
You know, I'm like a huge Star Wars fan. I've watched these movies 1,000 times. I did not know that character had a name and that it was Max Rebo.
It's Max Rebo, dude.
Max Rebo, yeah.
There is going to be some fucking, when the Star Wars dating game hits, there is going to be some hot Jedi on Gamorrean guard action like you wouldn't fucking believe, man.
Can we move on?
No. This is good. We need to talk about this. This is like, who in chat, honest to God, who in chat would love to see a Star Wars dating game? I would play that shit. Why not? Justin is incredulous, and Jeff is so uncomfortable right now.
No, John, I know how much money that game would make. Dude, I just think that's a box that you cannot close once it's open.
No, dude, come on, man. You've played Mass Effect. The box is already open. People are thirsty for aliens, man. They are. Like, and there's nothing wrong with it. But people are thirsty for aliens. Like, look at the reaction that Garrus gets. Look at it. Like, you know, I mean, I'm serious, dude. Like, I think there's a super huge market for Star Wars that is not being tapped here. Period. Like, I mean, I can't believe that anybody would disagree with me on this one. Like, you know, and dude, you could take time-honored characters from the prequels, like Elon Sleaze Bagano. Like, you know, those really good characters that are important to Star Wars canon. And
Sebulba.
Sebulba. Jeff. So Jeff looks like he's just now learning this. Jeff, there's a character in the prequel films named Elon Sleaze Bagano. That's an actual he's the Death Sticks guy. You want to buy some Death Sticks? Like, that's Elon Sleaze Bagano. Why I know that, I don't know. But that is his fucking name. Justin, confirm it for me.
Oh, he's correct.
That is Elon Sleaze Bagano. And, you know, people...
I just want to say I'm officially banning Blaine from the chat.
Is Blaine fucking it up? Sebulba is super into foot play?
No, I mean... ban-worthy.
She's not wrong, though.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have an option, but...
She's not wrong. Blaine isn't wrong. Like look at Sebulba's in the fucking Phantom Menace. Like, one last word says, John, this will only work if Miller does the voice for Watto. Slay the younglings. Do you want to date Anakin? Holy shit. Jesus. Okay, we need to fucking move on now. What do we got next? What's the next fucking topic? I regret bringing this up.
I don't know, John. You interrupted us to bring us to this.
I'm all fucked up now. Did we talk about Horizon Zero Dawn last week? Or not Horizon? I can't fucking stop saying. I cannot stop saying Horizon Zero Dawn. I can't stop.
Yeah, did you? I was bummed I missed Horizon talk last week.
I don't think.
Yeah, we talked about it at length, but I mean, it's still topical.
I mean, it's still So there is actually something that I did want to mention, by the way. And that is apparently, of course, well, not apparently. I'm kind of drunk now, so you'll have to excuse me. That beer, like, holy shit, that's a strong fucking beer.
I haven't seen John pour another glass, so this, as far as I know, this is one beer.
No, this is two. Two beers that are 12% alcohol.
Yeah, all right, that's legit. I'm a lightweight. I can't talk shit.
Oh, dude, this motherfucker's fucking me up. But
Oh, I'm on my second glass of water.
Well,
you guys
easy,
gotta
Justin.
catch up.
Justin's feeling that
Easy.
H2O.
Justin, fucking dude, you're too hydrated now. Switch Pro, not announced this week.
Oh God,
Fucking Switch Pro.
No Switch Pro this week.
Oh my God.
I reposted it, but Atma in our Discord posted like I'm like, shut up about the Switch Pro.
Everybody
about the Switch Pro.
Everybody and their mother was like
about the Switch Pro.
Everybody and their mother was like, the motherfucking Switch Pro is being announced this week, and we got nothing. So
this happens every time with Nintendo. Everyone says it's being, and then it doesn't happen. Every time.
So
I swear to God, every time.
So here's my question, boys. Here's my question. Are we getting that Switch?
You know, this week is tomorrow, John. There's tomorrow.
Are we getting that Switch Pro
tomorrow?
Yeah,
it's supposed to be tomorrow. Tomorrow is supposed to be the day.
According to Central Leaks.
Wait, hold on. Who is actually saying that it's going to happen tomorrow?
Apparently there was a retailer leak that listed a new Nintendo console for $400 going up at midnight on June 4th.
And this came from Central Leaks. Again, no disrespect if they're reputable, but I never heard of them. And they said they personally verified the photo or screenshot. So I mean, time's running out. That's tomorrow.
So
and midnight on the 4th is actually tonight.
So there is 100% way too much fucking smoke around a Switch Pro for it not to be real.
Well, we know it's real. Like it's two Bloomberg articles.
We know it's real. Bloomberg has outright talked about how it's being manufactured.
When is it being announced?
There's no doubt in my mind that it's real.
The question is when are they going to announce it? And everybody and their fucking mother has said it's going to be before E3, which means
the Bloomberg article did say that they were under some pressure from developers to reveal it before E3
so
they could
run their games on
Switch Pro at E3. So I mean, but they've got all next week as well. So I don't know why
everybody. Here's why. So I did not know that yesterday or that tomorrow was a thing. But the reason that people are so fixated on it is because people are hyped and they want to see it, and they're excited. And I get it. But I find it very funny that on Monday, everybody was like, tomorrow, baby, 9 a.m. on Tuesday morning, motherfucker, let's go. Everybody's reloading Nintendo's Twitter feed, and that didn't happen, right? So they're like, well, you got to consider the time difference, right? Because now we're on EDT, not EST. So 10 a.m., baby, let's fucking go. Nothing happens. And then that has been the cycle every day this week. Everybody this morning.
That's been the cycle every day since the Switch launched. Like, this is just Nintendo. Like, these are Nintendo fans. It's always something. It's Metroid Prime trilogy, or it's Other 3, or it's made it like Breath of the Wild 2. I just feel I'm not even on Twitter, and I still like. It's just every week. It's like this is the week that something big is happening. Remember the directs? The directs.
Oh God, please! Oh God, I don't want to relive that shit, dude. Like that was rough. But I do find it very, very odd that Nintendo would announce something like this in a fucking Twitter drop. Like that. Just,
yeah. How did they announce the Switch Lite? I can't remember.
I mean, it was a video and like a YouTube video. Like it was a big reveal. Yeah.
Well, I remember also
this one, right?
So, I mean, this actually is kind of similar to like Sony and the PS4 Pro, where that leaked after GDC.
I remember that.
Like, and specs and everything leaked at GDC that year. So it was like end of March, early April, and they actually they didn't even formally announce it till like September, and it launched in November. And like I remember they put out a statement before E3 because everybody knew like it was coming. They're like, "Yes, we are working on an enhanced PlayStation 4. Nothing you see at E3 will be running on it. It will not be there."
Sorry, I was typing something out. There was something else that I wanted to bring up about the Switch, and it was the price. Apparently this thing is going to be $399 according to all the leaks we've seen. And honestly, that I believe it. because
isn't that what it is right now?
No, the Switch is $299 right now. It's $199 for the Switch Lite. My question is, if it is $399, does that mean the Switch gets a price drop? Because this motherfucker has been out for...
The Bloomberg article says that this one's just going to replace the current Switch.
But does the current Switch get a price drop because of that? Because this motherfucker has been on the market for, 4 years now, and it has not received a single price drop.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have to find a way to sell out of that inventory.
PS4 only got one price drop. And, like... There's also the Switch Lite, which is cheaper, right? So, like, It could just be the Switch Lite and then the Pro Switch.
I mean, yeah, but like they'll have to clear out their, assuming the new Switch comes out in the fall, they'll have to clear out the existing Switch inventory. If it even exists, as far as I know, it's still really hard to get. So maybe they don't have that much to get rid of. But I imagine they'd have to drop the price because who's going to pay, Although if the new Switch is more expensive, then maybe they don't need to. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not.
I don't think any game companies are sweating charging $300, $400, or $500 for hardware right now because people will pay whatever it takes for whatever hardware.
I agree.
It is. Nvidia just dropped a GPU that's a 12% performance increase for $500 more, and that sold out immediately. People will pay whatever at this for hardware.
I want to take this opportunity to eat some crow because I was like,
"Ooh, I like it. I love it when you eat crow."
Just like coming into COVID last year, I was just so down. Of like, every game is gonna flop. Like game sales are gonna tank. Because all my friends lost their jobs. Everyone's broke as fuck. I'm broke as fuck. I'm paying out the ass for everything because everything's so expensive because of COVID. I've got no relief from anything, and I was like, who can afford all this stuff? But against, this is why I'm not Matt Piscatella because like all the sales went crazy, and somehow I don't know if everyone's just taking out fucking loans from their banks, but somehow everyone's got money for video games.
People are going to the blood banks and selling plasma.
It's crazy.
It makes sense to me. I think a lot of people are selling older gaming hardware in order to afford new stuff. I know I've been doing that. Older games, because there's probably people that can't afford stuff, but when you can't go outside, like there's probably plenty of families that were looking for like a secondhand PS4 and a bunch of games for their kids that can't go out right now. And those, there's probably a lot on the market to buy for, people that are buying PS5s, and it just keeps going and going. And then, so many multiplayer games have been popular because it was the only way people could really connect with their friends for a while. Like gaming was like the only safe form of entertainment that was still releasing new stuff.
Right.
Like it all makes sense to me. But like the hardware shortages though have been like, especially on the PC side. Like if we think it's bad trying to get PS5s and Xboxes right now, the stuff people have been having to go through to get like GPUs and CPUs has been nuts. The hardware shortages, I think, is the thing holding it back from being like this just massive industry boom.
Well, and speaking of hardware shortages, like, can you imagine what it's going to be like to try to pre-order a fucking Switch Pro? Whenever that
I'm not even
drops,
gonna try.
Like,
not even trying.
I'm gonna try, but if I don't get one, I'm not gonna beat myself up over it because there's not gonna be, it's not gonna be like the PS5, right? Like there's not gonna be any Switch Pro exclusive games. There's just not. That's not the way Nintendo does business. That is, and they are not. They've sold what, like 90 million fucking Switches or something. Like I don't know the exact number, but it's their fastest selling console of all time. It'll probably beat up the Wii in terms of sales, which is fucking wild. But they are not going to alienate all those consumers, all those Switch gamers, with a fucking and I want to address something that Blaine just said in chat. You forget the few new 3DS exclusive games. The 3DS was not their flagship console though. They are,
the Wii was their main console at the time.
The as crappily as it sold, that was their marquee console. And now that the Switch, and the Switch fulfills two markets for them. The Switch covers the handheld market and the console market. Like, and that is what Nintendo does now. Like they are locked into that hybrid console for the foreseeable future, in my opinion. Like there's no coming back from that.
They better be.
Like, right. Like,
yeah. Why would you go back when all your developers can develop for the same system?
Yeah.
Well, I've just been saying for a while now that, like, basically, if Nintendo continues on the path that they're currently on now, doing Switch-style releases, they're golden forever.
Right.
But Nintendo being Nintendo, my biggest fear
they've got that
is
Nintendo
that they'll decide
shit.
to innovate with the next one and do something totally different that they don't need to do. And
they're gonna put the Switch. They're gonna put it in a pair of glasses like Google Glass.
Enemy sometimes
it's gonna be like Google Glass. You just put that shit on your face, and that's how it's gonna work. But no, like I agree with you guys. Like I mean, they are locked if they're smart into the hybrid console format, and so.
I just don't like to predict anything when it comes to
I don't
Nintendo
either, but I think it's a pretty safe bet, Justin. I think it's a pretty safe bet that you were not going to see.
John, you don't like to predict stuff with Nintendo? Okay. Yeah, okay.
No.
Let's roll the tape
hold on,
of like the past 3 years.
Hold on, Justin. I'm talking about from a hardware perspective. From a hardware
okay.
Because they make all kinds of fucking crazy decisions, right? Like there's a reason they have that reputation. But I think it's a relatively, I'll season this with the word relatively. I think it's a relatively safe bet that Nintendo does not have any Switch Pro exclusive games, at least for the first year and a half, maybe 2 years. Because if they do phase out the old Switch, eventually they're not going to produce that anymore. And once the old Switch is not in circulation anymore, they still won't have any exclusive games, but they can start optimizing those games better they can prioritize the Switch Pro as opposed to the older model. But I do not think you're going to see any exclusive games for the Switch Pro that will not run on an older Switch. I think there would be too much fucking outcry. Especially with how fucking difficult it's probably going to be to get this.
They still have the Switch Lite, right? So even though the new Switch Pro is replacing the base Switch, the Switch Lite is, as far as I know, 20 or 30% of their market now. Like it's a significant portion of it.
And they've got
and then you're further fragmenting that, you can't. Yeah, I agree. It's I don't know, John. Did you want to talk about? I guess it's a natural transition. I know we're doing the predictions thing with E3 man. Like every week now, but. I think it was confirmed that Nintendo's E3 Direct is going to be 40 minutes, and we've done lots of E3 predictions. I don't know if we've talked about what we think Nintendo's going to show.
We actually haven't done a whole bunch of Nintendo stuff, so we can do that. We'll do that.
The first half of the show was Sony, so let's go all in on Nintendo. No, that's
Why
not?
That's fine. Let's do Nintendo for the next, we got 20 minutes left? But yeah, let's do that, and then I want to tell a quick inspirational story for our friends in chat. Because there's a lot of bullshit happening in the country right now, and I want to maybe bring people some comfort. Nintendo E3 predictions. I think right off the bat, I think that if we don't, look, by then, if not at E3, by then we'll know about the Switch Pro, right? I think it launches in October. I think that's a reasonable time frame. And it's going to launch with a big game. It has to launch with something big. I was talking with Derek today on the phone on my way to work, and we were just or on my way back from lunch. I'm sorry, and we were just.
I love Derek.
He's one of my best friends. Derek's just a fucking great guy. We were talking on the phone, and we were talking about what game the Switch Pro might launch with. And conventional wisdom told me that it would be Breath of the Wild 2, right? Because it's a highly anticipated fucking game. We know it's in development. It's been in development for some time, and this is the big, the year of the big Zelda anniversary. Right?
I don't think it's coming out this year.
So here's the thing, Justin. Or Jeff. Here's the thing. I'm actually no longer convinced that it's Breath of the Wild 2. They have to launch with something, though. I don't think they're going to drop Breath of the Wild 2 in a year that's already got Skyward Sword HD. That will assuredly have Wind Waker and Twilight Princess ports, probably Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask ports. I don't think that they're going to throw Breath of the Wild 2 into that mix. Especially,
I would love ports of Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time.
So would I.
I've still never played those games to complete. Like,
so would I.
I've never finished either of them. That would be so good.
But they've got to launch with something. They've got to launch with something big, because if you, Breath of the Wild was a Switch launch title, probably one of Nintendo's biggest launch titles ever. And if they are going to sell you a $399 Switch with a 7-inch screen that does 4K DLSS docked and 720p handheld, they have got, and 2 HDMI ports and all kinds of shit. They have got to sell you,
rumored to be an OLED screen, too,
right? Like they have got to sell. They have got to drop.
I feel like everything Nintendo does just sells. So like,
no, but
that's also true.
That's true. But they are going to want to sweeten the pot. So.
Like, what did the Switch have in this, like, the past year other than Animal Crossing?
So here's the thing.
So crazy.
So Jeff, here's the thing. But at that point, we will be, very, we will be away from the pandemic at that point. We'll still be here
in the U.S.
In the U.S., right?
Okay.
So, I think their big game that they will launch the Switch Pro with is Mario Kart 9.
I could see that.
I think they will. I think they will announce it at E3, because we know Nintendo is really good about announcing games and releasing them 5-6 months later.
Yeah.
I think they will announce it, and that's what, June, July, August, September, October. That's 5 months. I think Mario Kart 9 will be announced at E3 and will launch in late October, mid to late October, alongside the Switch Pro. I think it's time. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out in 2017. It was a launch window game for the Switch, and the original Mario Kart 8 came out in 2000.
And Deluxe, it didn't have extra stuff versus Mario Kart 8, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So really, they haven't done new Mario Kart content since Mario Kart 8 came out.
And so here's the thing. Sunlight Scrub in chat said Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is selling too well. It is selling extremely well, but at some point you have to do something new. At some point you have to release the next game. And look, Grand Theft Auto sells millions and millions and millions of copies perennially, right? But eventually there's gonna have to be a Grand Theft Auto 6. Like, there just has to be. Because after a certain amount of time, people are like,
you say that, but
thing.
we're about to get the second re-release of Grand Theft Auto 5.
That's true,
but
I mean, dude, come on. We all know Grand Theft Auto 6 is in development. I mean, come on. I think it's time.
I don't think that game's anywhere near releasing.
No, dude. I'm not saying it is, but we all know it's in
Mario
development.
Kart is an interesting choice because, I totally get the arguments against it, and but I also get the arguments for it, because at some point that game had to have started develop. Games take so
it's
long
in development,
to make,
for sure,
that you have to start development at some point, and I can't see Nintendo just being like, oh, well, 8 Deluxe is still selling.
I mean, dude, come on. As popular as Mario Kart is,
we shouldn't make a new Mario Kart.
It launching alongside a 4K capable Nintendo console, I mean, it fucking sells itself. I mean, I can't. So, go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was going to say, so here's some, just for context, here's some dates for previous Mario Kart games, okay? So there was, from Super Mario Kart to Mario Kart 64, there was 4 years. That was 1992 to 1996. And then we had 96 to 2001. That's 5 years between Mario Kart 64 and Super Circuit for GBA. And then we had 2001 to 2003, which is when we got Double Dash on GameCube. Then we had another 2 years. 2005 was Mario Kart DS. Another 3 years for Mario Kart Wii in 2008. Another 3 years, 2011 for Mario Kart 7. Another 3 years for Mario Kart 8 in 2014. Now,
it's
2014, we're going on 7 or 8 years when traditionally one every 3 to 4 years.
It's fucking time, man.
It's beyond time.
It is. I think.
Just look at their history, right? Yeah.
And let's face it, dude. Let's face it. Mario Kart 9 is just going to be a bigger seller than Breath of the Wild 2. It is what it is. And
the Zelda series is good, but it's not. It doesn't move games that like the units that Mario does.
Absolutely not, especially not Mario Kart. And yeah, I think Mario Kart 9 is what they're going to launch it with. I think you'll see it announced at E3, and I think it'll launch right on top of the Switch Pro. That's my big E3 Nintendo prediction.
That's a good guess.
I can see it. That makes sense to me because I also do not think Breath of the Wild 2 is coming this year.
I think you're probably right.
One game that would be good. I don't think this game is coming soon, but a game that would be good to show alongside hardware for the more hardcore audience would be a look at Metroid Prime 4.
I was just going to say that. I do not think that game's
coming any soon.
Oh no, not at all.
Anytime soon. But I think some kind of trailer or some kind of look at being like, hey, this is taking advantage of, the pro hardware, like, because that's a game geared for the much more hardcore audience. And I think that would be a game that would, yeah.
Tinfoil hat.
I think it would just be a good game.
Part of the delay for Metroid Prime 4 is maybe them taking more time to really expand it. I'm not saying it'll be like a new Switch exclusive, but maybe they at some point realized that this new system was coming, and maybe that's part of why we haven't seen it yet. I don't know.
I was actually going to say that, Justin. I think that I think we'll see a trailer for Metroid Prime 4, especially since this is people don't think about this because it's Metroid, but this is also Metroid's 25th anniversary, 35th anniversary. It's 35th, right? It's our 35th anniversary. I think we will see some Metroid Prime 4 footage. I agree with you. I don't think we'll even get a release date.
No, that game's nowhere near releasing.
I think like at the earliest, like late holiday 2022 at the earliest. I do think we will see a 2D Metroid developed by Mercury Steam shown that will release this year.
Oh, I'd be so into that.
So would I, dude.
So into that.
So would I. I'm not going to sit here and say Metroid Prime Trilogy because I'm not going to beat that drum anymore. But I do think there is quite a bit of smoke around a 2D Metroid, and we know that Mercury Steam has been working on something. They developed Samus Returns, which I loved. It was great. It sold well. It was received well. I think it's very likely that we see a follow-up to Metroid Fusion. That's what I think it's going to be. I think it's essentially going to be Metroid 5.
It's wild to me. It's been 20 years since Fusion came out. We have not gotten
any continuity
another
from that story.
game that takes place after Fusion in the timeline.
It's Justin, it's time, man.
And that game opens up game opens up so many possibilities for gameplay and story stuff, and they've just never touched it since.
How do you feel about that prediction, Justin? I think that's actually a pretty safe prediction.
And also, I don't know if you get really high percentage completion stats in Samus Returns, there's concept art that you can get, and there's some stuff that really looks like it's like X parasites and stuff.
Yep.
And obviously none of that stuff is in Samus Returns. That was before the discovery of the X parasites. So it seems like they were hinting at something like that even years ago when Samus Returns came out. So I would be all over that.
I think that's.
But also I realize with these predictions, these are things that I'm not super confident would release this year, and Nintendo did say that they're mostly going to be
focused on 2021 this year. And dude, honestly, late summer, early fall is a perfect time to release a 2D Metroid. I would fuck. Oh, dude, I'd be over the moon. And I think that's a pretty safe release window. I'm sorry, as I love Metroid, it's one of my favorite franchises. a new 2D Metroid would get lost in the fucking sauce in November. It just would. So I think late summer, very early fall is the right way to do that. I've got 2 more predictions for you guys, and I'll throw the first one out to the group. Monolith Soft. I think it's time for a new Xenoblade game. Something that is not a remaster. I think it's time for either Xenoblade Chronicles 3 or something completely new from Monolith Soft. But I think it's coming. I think we see it announced this year and possibly release in either late December or early next year, just like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 did. At the ass end of, I think it was 2017, Justin? Do I have that right?
You had that bet with Anthony.
I did have that bet with Anthony, and he was so convinced that he was going to lose. And I'm not, I savored that fucking victory. But I don't know. How do you guys feel about Monolith Soft? I feel like it's time we see something new from them. Or even if it's, I don't know, maybe it's a port of Xenoblade Chronicles X. Like that's like the last major Wii U game that has not been ported to the Switch. But I do think that we are going to see something from Monolith Soft, and the big one that I wanted to throw at you guys was Pikmin 4.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, like we've heard about
Jeff,
that.
Go ahead, man.
No, I was just going to say we've heard about that forever, and like
wasn't it near completion 6 years ago or something
like that? Yeah.
Articles from years ago where they said it was almost done. And I wouldn't be surprised because we've also heard that the Metroid Prime trilogy remaster is done. Like it sounds like Nintendo has finished games that they just sit on and like shove on a shelf until they're ready to dole them out. So I was gonna say Pikmin 4, and I was really wondering about a new 3D Mario because it's been a while since Odyssey.
I don't see that happening.
Given that this E3 is supposedly focused on 2020 round releases,
right.
I think they could release a 3D Mario this fall if they wanted to, but I just know Nintendo. Yeah. They don't seem, we know we're going to get like Pokemon. They've got the remasters and they got Legends coming early next year. They're going to have a couple big fall games, but they don't like to put everything. They like to space things out.
I think we're going to get Mario Kart 9 before we get a new 3D Mario, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, whether or not Mario Kart 9 is actually a thing that happens this year, I think we're going to get...
I do believe that a new 3D Mario is close to being done.
I think you're probably right about that.
Whether or not they show it is the question.
I think you're right about that. But, I mean,
yeah, I don't think we see a new, like a brand new Mario for a little bit.
But like, I mean, Pikmin 4, Pikmin 3 Deluxe. I have a theory that Pikmin 3 Deluxe was a barometer for Nintendo to see just how much demand there was for Pikmin. And Pikmin 3 Deluxe sold great. It sold really, really well. And so I am wondering if this is when we finally see Pikmin 4, which, like Justin said, has been near to completion since 2014. But who fucking knows? I also think it's possible, like, given this is the year of Zelda, like, I agree with Jeff. I've kind of like given up on Breath of the Wild 2 releasing this year. I don't think it's going to happen. But I'm wondering if we get another 2D Zelda remake from Grezzo.
I would.
Oh, like Oracles. Yeah.
Yeah, the Oracle games, like remade.
I'll shit a fucking
like
brick, Justin.
Link's Awakening. Oh my god! Like that's one of those things that I would.
I know you love those games. I do
games
too.
Are so good, and they're so overlooked too. Like they'll be brand new games to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So good.
I think like a 2D Zelda game and a Pikmin 4, those are the kind of games that I think they could fit in late summer, early fall holiday without overshadowing like a Pokemon or a Mario Kart or a new, like, they love to kind of have a nice variety of new games and remakes or I don't know. That seems very plausible.
People would fucking flip out. Like, dude, people would love a new 2D Zelda. Like people, like Nintendo fans would love that. And I saw, I think it was Blaine in chat mentioned a Minish Cap remaster. I don't think Minish Cap needs a remake the way the Oracle games do. Minish Cap is still incredibly beautiful, like eminently playable. The Oracle games have not aged as gracefully. They're wonderful games, but I think that, and I agree with you, Justin, you just said in chat, they are some of the best 2D pixel art ever. Like the animation, and like Capcom fucking knocked it out of the park with Minish Cap. But I think the Oracle games, just like Link's Awakening, are ripe for a remake. And it's been a couple of years now since we saw the Link's Awakening remake, right? Because that came out in 2019.
Yeah.
So being that it's the year of Zelda, I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility. And so here's another question for you guys. And it makes me laugh just thinking about it. Bayonetta 3. What the fuck is happening with this game? Like,
I feel like they're gonna save that for the Game Awards just because
it was announced at the Game Awards.
It's been so long.
Like
it doesn't seem like
announced at the Game
E3
Awards.
game.
Yeah, it like that seems like it's like also like the Game Awards are kind of like the one place Nintendo showcases their announcements that's not specifically a Nintendo thing.
Right.
And I think Bayonetta 3 is the kind of announcement that would play really well at an event that's not specifically like a Nintendo Direct.
I agree.
Thing.
Yeah, no, I think that's accurate.
But also I have no idea. I have no idea what's up with that game. Like, isn't there like another game that like Platinum's been working on for like years?
I think they're probably working on Astral Chain 2. For sure. Because that game was great and it sold fucking bonkers.
Well, I was just, what's the name of the one I'm thinking? Babylon's Fall?
Oh, Babylon's Fall.
Like
no, that's just no. So that's going to be Square Enix's show.
Yeah, that. Oh, is it actually going to be? Because like, I was like, that game was done by Platinum and announced years
There's
ago
actually stuff about that I
out.
can't talk about live on the show. I'll fill you in on that afterwards. Sorry, everybody listening. There is one more thing I wanted to throw out there. There is absolutely a Final Fantasy 1-6 collection that is happening. I think it might be Switch exclusive, which is unfortunate if that's the case. But if that is if it is Switch exclusive, I expect to see that at Nintendo show and not Square Enix's. Because
do you think it would just be like straight ports, or do you think it would be like the HD 2D?
No, straight ports. No, straight ports.
It'll be the mobile ports, right, John?
No, it won't. No, so I know.
Good.
I know a little bit about it. I know enough about it to tell you that.
Monkey's paw curls.
No, I know enough. I know enough about it to say that they are like 4, 5, and 6, for example, use the original SNES visuals. They're not like there's no HD 2D remake. They're not like, but there is supposedly like some
because on Steam on PC I just bought the version of 4, but it's the 3DS remake. So
it's not. No, this is the SNES version. But they've apparently all got updated localizations at least. So that's good. But like don't expect the kitchen sink or anything. But there's no there's no HD 2D remakes happening, not as far as I know. Like these are all I very expressly know that these are the Super Nintendo visuals, at least for 4, 5, and 6. For 1, 2, and 3, I don't know if it's the Game Boy version or the GBA versions or the NES version. No fucking idea. But I do expect that if it is a Switch exclusive, I expect that to be announced in Nintendo's conference, just like Collection of Mana was. Remember that? When Collection of Mana was announced at Switch's E3, I think it was like 2 years ago, and then it was dropped the same day. I expect the same thing for the Final Fantasy 1-6 collection. I think it'll probably drop the same day. So yeah. I know the collection's a thing, and I think it'll be Nintendo's E3. That's what I think. So just, you guys know I fucking eat that up. I'll play all of them. But also, if you're a Final Fantasy fan, temper your expectations. Don't expect like some fucking Octopath Traveler shit, because that's not going to happen. We're punching up against the end of our time here. I was hoping to tell a quick motivational story. I know you guys have heard this story, but we've got some new people in chat that are going through some shit right now. Not just my friend Liz, but some other people in chat that are worried about the state of things right now. And I wanted to leave everybody with kind of a little message of hope. And I want to talk real quick about an experience I had in Iraq in 2004 that ended up being a coping mechanism for me that endures to this day. So that's what, 17 years. This is something that has brought me, Jesus Christ, I just fucking aged myself. But this is something that has brought me comfort for what, 3 years short of 20 years. And this is something that may not necessarily work for you, but find something that does. When I was 23 years old in 2004, I was in Mahmoudiya, Iraq. We were at this chicken factory, right? That's what we called it. It was a warehouse originally for slaughtering chickens. And we wore our kit everywhere we went. We took a lot of indirect fire. It was a hellhole. Like Mahmoudiya was just not a good place to be. And about 3 months into my deployment, this was my first deployment. I was like a fucking zombie, right? Like I was working the night shift in the skiff, and one night I went up to the roof and I lit up a cigarette. And it was a little after midnight. It was dark, and there's this crazy thing about, like, you know, Arab nights are beautiful. Like, if you've ever been to the Middle East, Arab nights are beautiful. There's not a cloud in the sky. The stars go on as far as you can see. And it was compounded by the fact that there wasn't a lot of electricity in Mahmoudiya. So, I mean, I was just breathtaking by it. And I sat there looking up at the sky, smoking my cigarette, and I saw that in chat, Jeff. And that was good. And just letting my mind.
I just couldn't help it.
No, dude, no, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. And just letting my mind turn off, right? I was thinking about absolutely nothing. And then on the horizon, I saw some blinking lights coming toward me. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And as it came closer and closer, I realized that it was a commercial airliner. Something that you can walk outside right now and look up into the night sky and see within seconds, because they're all over the place. But that was something that I had not even bothered to look for in 3 months. And it was the only one in the sky, the only single one. And suddenly I was hypnotized by it. And it was flying overhead. And I started thinking about who was on that plane and where they were going and where they'd come from. And if they could possibly fathom, if they had any idea what was happening on the ground right beneath them, and if they could possibly fathom that a young Marine was looking up at them, wondering who they were at that exact moment. And I watched it with just this hunger until I couldn't see it anymore. And in that moment, it reminded me, it made me realize that no matter how alone I felt, no matter how far away from home I was, the rest of the world wasn't as far away as I thought it was. And that thought filled me with comfort. And I went to bed that night. I hit the rack that night with a smile on my face for the first time in 3 months, because I knew deep down that everything was going to be okay. And ever since then, for 17 years, every time I feel depressed or the weight of the world is just heavy on my shoulders, every time just things get unbearable for me, I walk outside and I look for a plane in the sky. To this day, it doesn't take me long to find one. And when I find it, I look at it and I just watch it until I can't see it anymore. And it reminds me, even now, that no matter how sad I feel, no matter how far away everything is, no matter how isolated I might be in that moment, the rest of the world is not as far away as I think it is. Now, that's not something, and that you know, that anchors me in the moment. You know, that helps me to find my center again. Now, that's not something that is going to work for everybody, because that is something that is specific to me. that has meaning to me. Anybody else who does that is just going to see a plane in the sky because they don't have that emotional connection that I do that has lasted almost 20 years. But everybody has something. I truly believe that everybody has something that they can focus on that will bring them that sense of comfort. And what I want you to do tonight, after we log off of here, after we, after all the laughs about video games are done, I want everybody, I want Jeff and Justin on this podcast, and I want everybody in chat to turn the lights off and have a moment of reflection, have a moment of quiet, and bring to mind something that reminds you that you're not alone. Because I'm telling you right now, even when you're at your lowest moment, even when you feel like there's nobody out there looking out for you, I guarantee you with a 100% certainty that you are wrong. There is always somebody out there who's ready to reach out for you. There is always a moment that you can cling to that will bring you back and center you. I promise, no matter what's happening in the world right now, no matter what's happening in your life in this country right now, it is going to be okay. You are going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. All it takes is for us to look after each other. And that right now is more important than I think it ever has been. So if you follow me on Twitter, if you're in our Discord and you need to talk, I don't care what time it is. I don't care what day it is. I don't care what I'm doing. Reach out to me. I promise you, you can ask anybody who has reached out to me. I promise you, I will stop what I'm doing and I will make time. If you need somebody to talk to, I will always be there. I promise. And with that, if nobody has anything else tonight, we're going to call it quits now because we're 5-6 minutes over our runtime here. I apologize for that, but that's really something that I wanted to talk about. Don't forget that we go live every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on twitch.tv/official SDGC. We have a Discord. Can we get a Nightbot for the Discord real quick in chat, please, somebody? We have a Discord with over 300 members now and counting. We have a super inclusive community. We are wholesome as fuck. We would love for you to come and spend some time with us, talk about video games. It is a super active community. There's always somebody in there talking, especially in Gaming Central, our most popular channel. But we also have channels for everything from mental health to cute animals to food and all kinds of shit. There's also a game night tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, community game night. We're going to be playing a little Jackbox. We're going to stream it in Discord, and anybody's welcome to join. Just hop on the voice channel and play some Jackbox with us. And you can also find all of our content on all major podcast services. And with that, remember, guys, kindness costs nothing. Please take care of each other. And if we don't see you at game night tomorrow night, we'll see you next week, I hope. Everybody take care, and we'll see you later.